As mentioned in another video, at the moment I'm not playing tournaments because I'm quite busy with a working life that takes really away a lot of hours. But I'm interested in growing as chess player, and I think growing can be done through the study of openings, not for the opening itself, but for what it comes, which means, of course, one repertoire, then of course the understanding of the pawn structures, then of course also the understanding of the consequent endgames that comes with learning an opening. I like to use as a base for this repertoire the book by Viktor Moskalenko, Trompowsky Attack and London System. I find the idea of making a video, making me accountable every day to try to make something to read this book, a way to study and learn, and of course also to grow as a player, thanks to the fact that Moskalenko is a long-time grandmaster, it's a coach, it's obviously someone one can learn from. Moskalenko has made many interesting books on the Dutch, on the French, on many openings, and so I think it's quite interesting to learn from him. For example, in his book, after this sequence of moves that obviously calls Benoni structures, because this is the idea, these are pawn structures that we must learn, not moves. If we learn moves, it's just a waste of time. Here in his book is right, statistics, 8,438 games, approximately 50%. Black ignores the attack on the f6 knight, and immediately counterattacks in the center, additionally preparing the activation of his queen on b6 or a5. And this obviously makes sense because the queen has this possibility, once it's open, the diagonal to go to these two squares. The problem can be also here, because generally b2 is attack, and then also d4 is one of the pawns on which is made a kind of pressure thanks to the queen coming out. However, Moskalenko says that there are three main weapons for white at this point. One is d5, the other is bishop f6, take f6, okay, and the other is knight c3, okay. Notice it says the moves knight c3 and d5, so this is a new variation, d5 are a sharp version of a Veresov opening. He also shows the original series of moves instead of a transposition, because this would be a transposition. So d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6. Notice that with knight c3 we can also enter the Jobava London system, that would be bishop f4, okay? But here, instead of bishop f4, one plays bishop g5, and then it's followed by c5. That is what we had before. Okay, so the author prefer this move. After c5, he says his favorite is d5. d5, so it enters a kind of Benoni, okay? That said, he also says that there is a positional alternative, which obviously is to take on f6, like we mentioned before, this one. and generally is followed by G takes F6, D5, and Queen B6. Okay. So that's it for the moment. I will go to the games that Moskalenko shows that are played by him mostly. And it's very interesting, this idea of showing games, because with the games we can have a real practical example of how to play the middle game and the end game.